My Son's Enormous Head is the 18th episode of the 6th season of 2.5 Men. This is directed by James Widdoes, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it's a really brilliant episode. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It starts off with Chelsea feeling unwell, and Charlie doesn't want to really stay in the bedroom with her. He's trying to give her some space, but she wants him to stay. And I have to say she was pretty selfish because she asked him to spoon, which basically means rub your body all over my germy body and get the infection. So Chelsea's not a great person. I understand she was unwell, but it was very, very selfish. And this is what Charlie does. He does what she wants. But then he goes downstairs, talks with Alan, who's watching a film, and he said, "This is not what I signed on for." And Alan says, quite rightly, "This is exactly what you signed on for." And as he points out, when you ask somebody to marry them, you're kind of there for better or worse, in sickness and in health. And Alan tells Charlie that this is the opportunity to show Chelsea that she can depend on him when she needs him. And it turns out she is very sick. She wakes up, I assume, the following morning, and she looks horrendous. She really does. And it made me feel a little bit sickly as well. And we have a very funny scene in the kitchen with Jake, Alan, and Charlie. And Jake says that it could be an STD and explains a bit about them. And Charlie says, "I know what STIs are," and Alan says, "Your uncle helped invent them," which I found rather amusing. And Chelsea, being really unwell, asks Charlie to go to the pharmacy to get her about 10,000 things, and he does, which means we get a scene with Russell, played by Martin Mull, who's absolutely brilliant. So really thoroughly enjoyed that scene as well. Very, very well executed. Charlie comes back with things, and now he needs to go and feed her cat. And I have to say, there was an interesting moment in this. I might be reading too much into it, but it stood out to me. Charlie had taken codeine, and he was also drinking bourbon. So he told Alan, "You need to drive me to Chelsea's apartment." And what I really like about this is we have a display of sensible action. I mean, taking codeine and drinking bourbon itself probably isn't very sensible, but the fact that Charlie was saying, "Hey, I can't drive, it's not a good idea," I like, because obviously with Charlie, we often see really bad behaviour, things that viewers shouldn't be mirroring, such as taking codeine and drinking bourbon. But the fact that they were willing to say, at least Charlie knows he shouldn't drive, he's not going to endanger other people, I think it's a nice message for a show that often, I don't want to say glamorises bad behaviour, but maybe to an extent with Charlie it does. I like the fact that they're at least displaying some sensible actions there. And we go to the house, and it's a nice apartment, it's a nice set, and Alan is scooping the poop while Charlie is sitting contemplating the situation. And I will say, unless that cat has been left alone for weeks at a time, that was too much poop. Alan basically just scooped for the entire scene. I'm thinking too much into it, but as a cat owner, I was thinking that's a lot of cat poop. And Charlie decides that he doesn't want to do this again. It's too much, and he says, and I hated this, it's getting harder to love her. And basically he's saying she's not attractive because she looks unwell, she sounds unwell, so I don't love her. And that tells me that their relationship, from Charlie's perspective, is based on her appearance, and that there's nothing deeper to it, because you wouldn't stop loving somebody or find it harder to love them just because they're a bit phlegmy. Yes, she was being a bit snippy and a bit demanding, I can understand that, and I don't agree with that, but she's feeling unwell, she's feeling irritated, and that shouldn't be enough for Charlie to question his love for her. So it tells me that in that moment, the relationship's not as deep as Charlie is perhaps pretending that it is. And while he's saying this, Alan is scooping and occasionally passing commentary about the size of the cat's poops and the bird feathers in the poop. It's a decent scene. And then back at the house, Berta's saying some nice things about Charlie to Chelsea, saying that he's actually really crazy about her, which, yeah, I agree, but I don't think he's in love with her. And Charlie comes home and she ends up throwing up, and it's not a pleasant sight. And the next thing we know, Charlie is in bed sick. Big surprise. You spoon somebody who's getting a cold, or worse, some kind of stronger virus, you're going to get sick. So big surprise there. And he's actually hallucinating while he's dreaming. As he... It's a very bizarre moment, actually, because he's sick in bed. Chelsea leaves in the dream to go out to the pharmacy to get things for Charlie, and in walks a cat. But it's not a real cat. it's a person dressed in a giant cat suit, and the cat is going into his bathroom to do some more poops, and it's a very bizarre moment. I forgot about it. I've seen this episode many times, of course, but I'd completely forgotten about that, and I was quite amused by it. As a cat person, I rather loved it. He wakes up, confirming it's a dream. Chelsea is still in bed with him. It's a very sickly episode, but it's very funny, very entertaining, and in general, I don't have any complaints about it. Chelsea was quite selfish. And this was even at the very beginning when she wasn't feeling that unwell. She was a bit snotty, a little bit coughy, but she wasn't completely out of it, unable to get up or anything. And she was still selfish, asking Charlie, in fact demanding Charlie to spoon her. It wasn't a great look for Chelsea. But nevertheless, that aside, I think that it's a really brilliant episode of Two and a Half Men. My Son's Enormous Head is ultimately an absolute joy, and great to see Martin Mull. Certainly an episode that I rather liked.